Today we're gonna tear apart this vintage movie projector and see if I can't make a lens for my Sony a7 IV. See, this specific projector has a very interesting lens in it. I'm talking about the 20 to 32 f1.5 zoom lens. So let's get into it and see what we find. Now before we unalive this vintage movie projector, I wanna see if it works, because you see, the fine folks at the thrift store told me that it worked, and I wanna see if they're lying. Oh, and I found a little bonus present in the box, so let's go watch a movie. Just me and you. It'll be fun. You're gonna have a good time. I'll make some popcorn. We're in business. You know what? I can't make it work. So now we're gonna tear it apart because I'm getting pissed. Okay. So this didn't seem to work out, which is okay. You know, I had this whole creative idea planned out with cool projector playing and my favorite movie that I just found. But you know what? It is what it is. So today we're gonna rip out this lens here, and then we're gonna design a mount to throw it in my camera and, you know, just see what we got going on here. So if you look here, there's a little knob here on the side that turns, and this changes, I'm assuming, the effective focal length of the lens. I don't know if that's retainable or not. Oh wow, this moves too. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna figure out how to take this out. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know where to begin. For starters, let's probably unplug it. What's this? Oh, that's fancy. Got some pop-out feet. I don't see any screws or anything. Oh, okay, that was easy. Oh, man. Don't even have to tear anything apart. The video is over. We don't even have to tear anything apart. That's kind of scary. Okay, it's a new day. Let's talk about project expectations. So for starters, this is a projector lens out of an 8mm film projector. And I'm gonna adapt it to my modern full frame camera. So this is a full frame lens, essentially. This lens is 49 times larger than 8mm. So here's a full frame sensor, and then here's 8mm film. All right, so this is 35mm film, which is the same as a modern full frame sensor. This is 8mm film. You can see these little tiny boxes here are what signify each frame of the film. So we're gonna adapt something 49 times smaller than what it's supposed to take. You versus the guy she told you not to worry about. Now, what happens whenever we take such a small little hole and put it in front of a super large sensor like this? Well, I'll tell you what happens. So we get a crazy level of vignetting. Now, I got a project that I did in the past. You'll have to check that video out. I think it's called like Plastic Lens or something like that. That had a lot of vignetting. Now, in this case, I'm actually quite interested in the look because it's gonna create this like dreamy, moody tunnel into another world where vintage electronics and lenses live a painful life and die for the entertainment of others. Y'all are sick. But in all seriousness, on the wide side, this little lens features a 20mm focal length. That's pretty wide. Me likey a wide lens. All right, now right now we're printing out just a tube that we're gonna rest this in. We're gonna get the flange focal distance so that it's consistent with my mirrorless cameras. Once we figure that out, we can start to monkey around with other things. I already printed this out. This was super tight and it didn't fit, but basically it follows the same principle as all my lens adaptations. It snaps in here, this is a friction fit. That way we only have to print one base, and then we can just keep printing different tubes of different diameters and sizes to our heart's content. So yeah, that's printing. When that's done printing, we'll look at it and we'll see where we're at. So yeah, I'm excited. This is gonna be a really cool project. Gonna be a lot cooler than I personally think any of the other projects I've done. So I'm glad you're here to watch it. Let's see, this is still too tight, but let's see if we can at least get a good flange distance with this. Okay, so we've run into our very first, I would say like design limitation. Traditionally, 8mm has a shorter flange focal distance than my camera. So my camera is a modern mirrorless camera, and the nice thing about mirrorless cameras is they have a very short flange focal distance. Unfortunately, 8mm is even shorter than a camera like this just because it's so small. If it was a bigger size, then that would still be fine, but because 8mm is so small, we're gonna have adaptation limitations, and there's no medicine to cure that. Now, I'm designing a new mount here, which is unfortunate because I'm gonna have to print it. Here's the old mount, right here. And this mount has this plenum here that is extra. I designed a new mount that is giving us the maximum amount of plenum because we need to bring the lens even closer to our camera's sensor. Whenever I'm testing a lens and then I bring it really close to an object, if it starts to come in focus, that means the lens is still spaced too far off of the sensor for it to focus properly. So let's work on our next iteration. Okay, so that file is printing out. That'll take like an hour, but in the meantime, I want to show you something new. So Freewell just sent me their new magnetic lens filter kit. They come with these threaded pieces here. They're very low profile, and then you can just snap your filter right on. They also sent me their mist kit too, which is a separate kit, so I can pop that right on there, and then boom, I got mist. You can stack these filters up as well, which is really nice. If you're interested in checking out some of these magnetic filter kits, then make sure you hit that link in my description, and you'll support my channel in the meantime. Thanks again, Freewell, for sending me this kit. I can't wait to dive a little bit deeper into this. Let's get back to that print. Oh, that's awesome. Clean extraction. So this is a deeper channel here than what I typically make. See if it works. Ow. Ah. All right. We're over it already. So I engineered this to be very similar to the actual projector. So this can just fit in here. Actually, that's not bad. All right, so there's that. This fits in here. It's a little bit looser than I'd like, but we can fix that later. Let's see if it works. Oh man, I got myself good back there, jeez. All right, so we still don't have a very usable distance, but the image comes into focus probably about 6 or 8 inches off of the object. So you get this very dreamy looking, almost macro lens. Okay, I would say version 2 is a success. Now, this is pretty much as close as I feel comfortable for my sensor on my camera. Otherwise, I would bring this back even further and we'd have an even more usable focal length. But we got a very interesting, unique macro kind of product shot lens that I will be testing here very soon. But before we do that, I'm gonna try and design a little focusing wheel that we can move it further and closer away. Obviously, we have our focal length too. So when this is fully out at, I'm assuming 20 millimeters, it's way more usable. And then when you bring it into like 32, it's a little bit more intimate with your object. And I'll show you examples of all those shots so you guys can check them out later, but this is gonna be a pretty cool looking lens. So I can't wait to add like a little stylistic flair to it. You know how I am. But yeah, this is gonna be ambitious. Let's try and design a little focus wheel and see what happens. This is gonna have to be our final iteration, but I was able to retain the zoom function, which is pretty cool. Focusing, on the other hand, is not gonna be possible, and I'll show you why. So about halfway down through here, I added a little screw opening. This was the screw that I was going to use with it. Unfortunately, the largest focus wheel that I could have added is this big. And that's just comically small. It's like impossible to even turn, and it doesn't give me any real throw of focus. Plus, this really should be sitting closer to my sensor to even be useful. At its current state, it is like a hybrid macro lens at best, but it takes some very interesting photos, which you will see here very soon. I can't wait to show you the world from 2 inches away. This was an interesting lens project. The optic behaved just as I anticipated it would. I was a little bit disappointed that I couldn't get it closer to my camera's sensor so I could have a more usable shot, because the image didn't come into focus until you were right up onto the object, and the whole zoom feature seemed to kind of modulate what was in focus. So like you could kind of increase your focus distance if you pushed the glass further away with that little zoom, which kind of makes sense. There was some redeeming moments and some interesting photos. Depending on how you shot your photo or your video, the light in your setting would really add flares and effects on the tunnel of the lens. I think in the right setting, that could create a very interesting visual. Unfortunately, it's like 10 degrees outside. I was trying to find bugs that I could take pictures of, and I was unsuccessful. I feel like that's the perfect little bug lens. Up close, the images are not very sharp. They're very soft, even at their sharpest points. Let me know in the comments which of the photos I shared was your favorite from the project. And also, I'd love for any suggestions on what you think this specific lens would be good at, because I'm kind of scratching my head. It's interesting and unique, but it's not something that I would ever reach for. You know what I mean? I had a great time. I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank you for watching this video with me. If you're subscribed, thank you. I appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, I highly encourage subscribe or else.